Hello, this is Starseed Jason Moss. This video clip is going to discuss a little bit about the information I've received and I understand. There's been a discussion in the groups over the last few years with regards to the different classes of grays and beings that are conducting the hybridization program. There has been a division that has been identified among experiencers: good versus bad. It's often been called the evil ones or the good ones, bad ones, good ones. What I'm going to point out here and kind of add my 2 cents worth to this is that the beings that are conducting this program are essentially many of them are of the same backgrounds, the same planets, the same future, if you will. Essentially, there is not a good or a bad. There's an ideology, a difference in the how that they conduct this program. It was decided early on that when this program would take place, some decided that they wished to benefit mankind in some way and help to ascend as consciousness. The others, however, had a different approach. And that approach was primarily a self-serving process. While there may be beings from the future, as you may be aware, some of us come from the future and have come back in time in this hybridization program to guarantee the existence of themselves in the future in an attempt to it's a self-fulfilling destiny. Others come from different star systems with the same purpose. There is not one encompassing explanation for what's happening. The best example would be the board game called Rifts. Some of you may be familiar with this. Rifts involves the future where the Earth has been divided into different sections of space-time, and different realities are intersecting on the Earth from different dimensions. And the Earth has been fractured into rifts after a great cataclysm, a nuclear war. This death rate of billions of people all at once, all the souls leaving their bodies, shot up into the higher planes at one time. When they did this, they broke and fractured the space-time of the Earth, thus opening portals. These portals then allowed many different beings to walk through. The game is a good example of what would be the closest way to describe, as I understand it, what's happening and what's been happening over the last decades. It's very complex, and the complex nature of the many different ones that are coming here and what they're doing can get confusing. Some people are being taken and abducted by more than one race with a different agenda and an ideology on what they do. It can be very confusing, especially if you're encountering beings on one night who look very much like the ones from the night before, who were very kind to you and spoke to you. The ones from former night may have raped you or caused you some great distress or discomfort, or at least as you perceived this with your preconceived ideas as you walked into this. Some may be simply putting you through screening and mind experiments to see how far your development has come. Again, it can be quite complex. You cannot divide a heart against itself in its actions. A heart divided against itself is a heart that cannot stand. And what that basically means is that love is not a division. Love is love. You feel love with some of the beings you're connecting to, then it's genuine, as you already know. I don't have to tell you this. You know this already. You never have to question the loving connection you're feeling with someone. While information can be transmitted telepathically, as I know what I understand, feelings cannot be. You can feel telepathically another person's feelings, who is a telepath and connecting to you. You can sense their feelings feeling you, feeling them, feeling you. In that exchange of feelings, it is more, it may be an exchange of feelings in a quantum sense, but not in the same sense that telepathy transmits information. So in a sense, feelings are transmitted and received, but not in the same way that information is. It's on a much higher level. It exists more in a level of unity in a higher dimension of the fifth dimension, where unity and consciousness combine in one. So there isn't any division there with love. Love is not something that can be hypnotized into feeling. And the most seriously depressed people, as many of you psychologists know, cannot invent and simply create love. You can have moments of euphoric high through bipolar disorders and things like this for those patients. But a continuous sense of love that someone's experiencing is not something that can be created or fabricated in one's imagination. You feel this in your heart. You know you're feeling love from the source of the ones you connect to because you are one of them. You are family with them. They love you. This is a genuine love. That is the distinction between the ones with a different ideology than the ones that are serving their own purpose. The ones that serve their own purpose, however, do not share that bond and that love connection with the ones they take. It's very clear. You're aboard their craft. You feel fear. When you experience the loving connection, this is the only way I can give to people to say to them, you're dealing with, I caution myself by saying us, being a starseed soul of one of them. I try not to sit in groups and use the term we grays too often. There's a tendency to have, I have a very serious message and a very serious thing to say to people, as we all do. Everything every one of you is saying is important. All of what you say is important. I don't just like what you say because I'm just liking it. Everything you're saying is important and valid. Everything has a reason, everything has a purpose. Nothing is accidental, nothing is coincidental in this space-time continuum. It all has a reason. And it's already happened. We've already come to this point already before, and we're doing it again. So if I keep saying we grays, I know there's going to be a lot of other people who may look upon that in a dim light and say, this man might be a bit delusional or something about his identity. Many starseeds feel the same way. So we are not, it's not like caring about what others think about. You should care to some extent what others think and feel. When you're giving the message, if it's not being, communication, as you know, is a two-way process. If someone isn't, you're not reaching some people for some reason or another, it's not, you don't have to try to convince them anything. But if they simply see this as some, rantings of someone as being a little delusional or something, step back a minute and ask yourself, what does my presentation sound like? What am I saying to these people? How is it coming off? So I don't, and I agree with some friends I have who said that you have to be civil. That I think really being civil is a good idea, and being diplomatic at all times is very important. And in fact, this is all politics and diplomacy, and the beginning laying the foundation for contact later on down the road. I don't tend to follow a lot of the channelings, though I've channeled myself in the past I don't tend to, these dates that are given, red flag dates of what's coming next and what's coming next, I don't tend to go on that either too much. I like spirituality. I know spirituality is kind of a key, a doorway to connecting to our star families. But it's not the whole nutshell of this. I think it's better to make a video of me saying that than trying to type all this out. Spirituality, yes, and it can be anything. I think you can be a Hindu, you can be Christian, you can be anything you want to be. There is no right or wrong in this. Your connection is valid. Everything you're doing is valid. And remember that the connection is two ways. You can't lose the connection because they love you and want to connect to you. You will find even on the most rainy days of your life, they will reach you. You will feel that love.